So, my quick thoughts on the Royal Rumble. It's going to be few because I'm focusing on the women. I think it would be an interesting swerve to have Sasha and Lacey turn on Bayley. But the only drawback, and I'll explain why, the only drawback is that Lacey is now getting a lot of face love and a lot of USA chants, especially because of her military background. It still shocks me that she's in the military just because she is so good as this character. Since Lacey's been on SmackDown, I believe pretty much every week she's been wearing blue, which of course is representative of SmackDown. And we know that Little Miss is calling herself the Blueprint, and her hair is blue, and she's on SmackDown. So it would make, at least in my brain, great sense if they were to turn on Bayley. The other drawback is that Bayley just turned heel, which seems like yesterday, as far as I'm concerned. What is October when SmackDown debuted? So to have her switch back, debuted in October, and then I think the second or third week, so she hasn't really been heel for that long. So that would be the two negatives I would say about doing that. But it would be an interesting swerve for them to turn on Bayley. And if you're going to do that, what I would do is, in the locker room, Bayley would have no friends. And then eventually maybe Carmela. But I've been looking forward to a Bayley-Carmela showdown for a while, especially knowing, their off-screen friendship. So therein lies that. Ladies Royal Rumble, I would not let Charlotte win. In fact, I would have, or at least if I wasn't going to do a precursor, I'd do a post-cursor storyline where you'd find out that Charlotte would have had a bounty on her head because she has heat with Sarah Logan, and she had heat. I don't know if, I would have built that up. And she has heat with Natalya after Natalya took that loss. So I would make those two women gun for her and kill her chances. Maybe add in someone else. And then afterwards you would find out that someone put a bounty on her head. And it would be fitting if it was Liv Morgan. And it would also stink to have this whole build-up with Liv Morgan and then see her show up at the Rumble only to get kicked out of the Rumble. Just, you built it and then you squashed her. And you've been squashing her since, the week after her debut, with Lana throwing drinks in her face and them taking the L with her teaming up with Russo. But once again, as you've heard me state before, it's not my company. It's just random thoughts. Asuka or Becky Lynch versus Asuka. I would have Asuka win. Make her Asuka 2 belts. And my reasoning would be, sometimes there's a nut that you just can't crack. And that builds more character and it builds more story arc. From what I've read and heard, Asuka is pretty happy being here. And I don't see Becky not resigning. So when you have that nut that you just can't crack, you can build that up years to come. You can wait another year or so, and that heat is going to still be there. And the reasoning for that heat, with Becky winning, the heat is now gone, And you can never properly go back to that well. It's, oh, great. Becky and Asuka again. Who's going to win? Whereas, let's say 2022, because years go by very fast, they get the opportunity to meet up again, and maybe this time it's a WrestleMania match or a SummerSlam match, and now you have more than 2 years because Asuka beat her in 18. No, my bad. Asuka beat her in 19, early 19, same night at the Royal Rumble. So now to do the whole, we've come full circle. She lost that last year, now she won it this year. It's predictable. Come on, it's like, and for me, if anyone's listened to any of my film reviews or film criticism, when it's predictable, I walk. I've walked out of plenty of movies, just turned them off when I was at home. It's like, okay, this and that's going to happen. I've done that a lot. Like, okay, this and that's going to happen. Then this was going to jump out. And this one's going to die. This is going to happen. Boom. When it happens, I've lost interest, and knowing the way that they've been going, it's just going to be predictable. She's going to beat her. And then it's like, okay, so now what's the next nut? Oh, let me guess, the next nut is going to be Becky and Charlotte at WrestleMania, because we're not sure that if we're going to get Ronda Rousey to show up at the Rumble or if Ronda Rousey's ever going to come back. It's going to kind of make me less interested in watching WrestleMania. But, it's whatever. I mean, actually it would make me a little bit more interested in checking WrestleMania, or not checking, and seeing a WrestleMania match to see no belt Charlotte versus a no belt Becky. I wouldn't want to see another 3-way with Asuka if they gave Asuka the belt, because it would just be repeating what we saw last WrestleMania. And once again, it goes back to I've already seen it. So what I would do is have Asuka win. And then, of course, down the line, Asuka could lose the belt, whatever, but just don't have her mess with Becky for 2 years. There's a lot of other women that can get pushed. Or even if they do a rematch on Raw, have her lose. Maybe Kairi Sane does something, have her lose in 2 weeks or whatever. And then she can't have another match for a while, and then Becky has to crawl back up the ladder. And that, reheats Becky up, face or heel or whatever, to have to scratch and crawl back up. And by the time she gets the belt, like I said, Asuka would have already dropped it. But still now, fast forward into 2022, and you work the storyline where she has to go through Asuka, or they would have to go through one another. Let's say, you're close to this victory to getting a title shot, and you're close to getting a title shot. So whoever wins this is the person that gets the match. And now you have this 3-year build-up, of Becky could never beat Asuka. And then you pull that off. So those are my thoughts. Pretty much the Fiend, Daniel Bryan. I already know that dude is taking control of the Fiend character. I felt that back when they did the whole Miz match. I saw some things that felt like Vince had his hand in it. And after hearing about Bray's offhanded comments on IG, we already know what it is, so it's going to be whatever. Men's Royal Rumble, only thing I can say is just surprise me. Women's Royal Rumble, surprise me. Fuck it. Give it to Lana. Why not? Let's do something different. Let's build Lana up. I would say give it to Liv, but it just seems a little too fast. But then again, it would go in with her rebirth, quote unquote. Surprise me. Give it to Natalya, who's busted her ass for years and who I can tell from watching Total Divas and from watching what they do with her in the ring, they don't give a shit about. We do know that, more than likely we're expecting to see Nia, Tamina, oh my God, Jimmy's wife's name is escaping me right now. I'm sorry. We expected to see her and some NXT ladies as well. Royal Rumble is usually when you see the people that have been injured, they make their returns, based on when they got injured, and we see new faces, NXT talent, kind of get a bit of a push. I think it would be awesome, actually, if you let Rhea Ripley win. I think it would be awesome to see Rhea Ripley go up against Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. I think it would be even cooler to have them put the NXT title on the line. And fuck it. Have Charlotte go over on Rhea Ripley. And she goes over to NXT. No one would see that coming. And that would be creative. And that would push NXT. And then what you can do is go back to the old storyline where Charlotte had her protege / peon, which was Dana Brooke, and make it someone else that's in NXT. Like Dakota Kai, who is now feuding with Tegan Nox, right? Maybe make her follow with Charlotte, or if not, pick someone else that can shadow Charlotte in NXT, and it would be interesting. Just a 6-month run with her at NXT would just be cool. Just be like, look, take one for the team and come back, to the place that you started and help build it up. And, I think that could really give NXT another push. You already have Finn Balor. You'd have Charlotte. And then you need one more name. Like even, Keith Lee now has a title. Consider someone like a Braun Strowman. I'm not sure if they're going to give him the IC belt. It's whatever. I hope they don't go with the same motif of Mandy and Sonya throwing one another out. I mean, if that happens, then we know that it's going to go back to them beefing. I also thought it would be an interesting swerve if Sonya was on this downslide and they decided to team her up with the Fiend or with Bray Wyatt and he got into her head. No one would see that coming. But it's just random thoughts I had in my head. And she's already dressed in black. She dresses very gothy. I do love when she's dressing in the bright colors. Watching old matches and like, oh wow, like it highlights her face. It pops her face. She's so pretty. She has that really jet black hair and the jet black eyebrows, and when she puts the black lipstick on and everything, and she has the bright colors, it pops her face so much where you're wearing black, it desaturates, it pulls, colors in when you just have a lot of black. That's why they say heavyweight people wear black to hide their weight. So although once you know someone's pretty, they're pretty. So it's like when you see her in black, you still see her as a pretty face, but it's like all the black. It's when you play this, go look at an earlier match when they first came in and watch her when she has the bright colors on, the whites, the red, and look at how highlights her face better. I'm not sure if she has, maybe I'll take a look on the website, but if she has a put your hair up and square up, which I think she does. I'm gonna look. I'll put your hair up and square up t-shirt that's in white with rainbow colors, and if she started rocking that a little bit more, you know, it would just be cool just to see her face highlighted a little bit more. That's all. Anywho, yeah, I just hope that they don't have them throw one another out. It would be, you know what? I thought it was an excellent idea, the way that Mandy got rid of Trinity. God, I cannot remember her character's name right now. For some reason, it is just, it's out of my skull right now. Damn. The way she got rid of her in the Royal Rumble, it would be cool if she got her back. It would be doubly cool if she shows up and she's able to get rid of Sonya and Mandy. But then that would also mean that more than likely she's going to end up on SmackDown. And I know that she wants to be with her husband. If it was my decision, I would put her on Raw. Because from what I'm seeing, they don't have a lot of women. You have Natalya, you have Sarah. Doesn't seem like they're pushing. You have Charlotte, you have Becky. Are they going to start feuding again? You have Asuka, you have Kyrie. And until, well, we know that Kyrie's feeling better now after seeing her match with Becky. So maybe we can get the heat on the tag titles. We haven't seen the Iconics. We haven't seen Selena Vega in a singles match. We see Lana, but I don't know how much they're going to allow her to wrestle. We see Liv, who's going to wrestle more. I don't know, it just seems like they're dormant when it comes to Raw in their women's division. It seems like I see a lot more on SmackDown. So, it is what it is. But, yeah, it would be cool if she got rid of Mandy and Sonya. It'd be a double payback. And even, hey, look, if they're going to put her on Raw, have them do a run-in and do something to her. God, her name, what the hell? Her name is killing me now. It's in my brain. It's like I'm seeing her face, I'm hearing her music, and I'm just not getting the name. Shite. It'll pop up. I'm pulling it down into my mental download. I digress. Anyway, yeah, I just hope they don't have Mandy and Sonya turn on one another. It's just too soon. Let's just fix this up. But other than that, there are no other matches. I remember hearing someone, I think it was on Vince Russo's podcast, someone came up with an interesting thing they foresaw. They said that I can already see that it's Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin is after this match is going to be another match where the loser has to eat dog food. And I was totally like for it. I said, you know, I could see goddamn Vince doing that because he keeps running that dog food motif. So I completely would not be surprised if they continue on. I kind of don't want to see Roman win the Royal Rumble. He's one of those guys to me. I dig him. You know, I'm also a person that digs Baron Corbin. So, you know, I don't really feel that he needs that type of a push as far as I'm concerned. You know, he's cool to me. So when he shows up, he's just cool. You know, I don't mind watching him. And I'm glad I wasn't watching when I heard that Vince was pushing him down people's throat and he wasn't getting love. And I'm going to be honest, I do believe that if he had not gotten sick, people would still be ishing on him. You know, to this point, probably. But, you know, everything happens for a reason and for a season. So, you know, fans appreciate him. I don't have a problem with him. But if he wins the Royal Rumble, it is what it is. You know, I guess they're figuring somebody has to stop the Fiend. I was of the notion that it was going to be John Cena. And now hearing that John Cena wants to do something major at WrestleMania, I would not be surprised. Going with the whole Jesus Christ motif, John Cena, initials, JC, battling a demonic / Satan character, and him winning, I could see that. But then that would mean, would it be a title match? Is John Cena going to stay around? Is John Cena going to win the title and then lose it? Who knows? Look, I would do something like that. Have him come in for, a 1 month run. He's not filming any major movies right now. So, why not? It's at the point now, quite frankly, and maybe he's been doing this. From what I've seen, I know he does this with older talent, more established talent, rather. But I think that Vince has to get to a point where he just, starts signing people to 6-month contracts. Sign a Killer Cross. Bring him up to the main roster. Don't have him dick around the NXT. 6-month contract. I'm going to pay you, I'm not going to put a figure out because everybody's going to start wilding out. And if anyone listens to this, pay him X amount of dollars. 6-month contract. Go beat up Braun Strowman. Then bounce. Then go do whatever you want to do. And then, let's see how our relationship builds, and maybe we'll sign you for a longer term. Maybe we'll wait a year, because you have prior commitments to something. And, this is the way that, the old adage is out, people. I'd be very, very careful signing those contracts. I remember hearing Rob Van Dam in an interview also stating, damn, I really wasn't expecting to go this long, but the creative spirit is just moving through me. Rob Van Dam, then again, he was an established star, was saying that you get what you negotiate, and he started putting things in his contract, kind of like what Lesnar does. He started putting certain things in his contract, so, the more popular you are, the more things that you can do. I did hear, though, that Charlotte signed 3 years, which I think was wise. All BS to the side, man. If she was smart, after her contract's out, she should bounce. I think Natalya should bounce. This is just my feelings on it. I would be at the bee's knees, and I don't use that term, to see Charlotte call up Tessa, and then maybe if, because in my opinion, Rachel Ellering should be part of the Four Horsewomen, and they're not really doing anything with that. Bring in Rachel Ellering, she's a child of a legend, and, for the last piece, maybe bring in Becky and do the Four Horsewomen, but say, F it, for a small contract for 6 months, let's go to NWA. That would pop the NWA big time. And then after that 6 months, let's just go on the indie scene, and they would make some serious cash, the 4 of them, appearing at little venues. Well, little venues that can afford them. Not going for top dollar, but knowing that if you went to, I'm just going to throw something out, okay? And I know this is far-fetched, but let's just say they went to Wrestle Circus, overseas. They get some serious cash, and then eventually make their way in over to AEW, but as Biggie said, it was just a dream. But these are my, my little thoughts, because there was nothing creative on SmackDown for Sonya, Mandy, and Otis this week. So I just went on a little tirade.